the channel. Today I'm here with Michelle and Anna. They're going to be demonstrating. We're going to begin today's class with a brief wrist warm-up. So because of all the stuff that we do on our hands in yoga, especially Vinyasa yoga, the wrists can kind of get burnt out if they don't have good mobility. So we're going to figure out how to get mobility through the wrists. So come to a kneeling position. You can sit with your toes curled under. You can sit with your toes pointed back. You could even put a block underneath your buttock like Michelle's going to do. You can take 1 block, 2 blocks, whatever feels comfortable. You just sit back onto that and then upright yourself. So we're just going to start by taking the wrists through their range of motion. So first I want you, with your palms turned up, to pull your knuckles back towards your elbows, just using the strength of your own forearm muscles. So feel those forearm muscles turn on to pull the hands like that, and then draw the pinkies towards each other. And then pull the front of your forearm so that your fingers curl towards you. And just feel those muscles in your forearm turn on to help to move the wrist. Then take the thumbs out to the side like you're trying to push out, rotate outward, and then come around for the circle. So you're just basically making a circle. Let's do that 2 more times, but go nice and slow so you can actually feel the muscles in your arms making the circle. And I want you to just feel where you feel any limitation in your wrists. Then change the direction of the circle going in the other way. Notice if it feels like there's any catchy spots. Okay, now come onto your hands and your knees and turn your hands around so that your fingers point back. Good, now in this position, brace your core, so lift your bottom ribs, breathe into your back ribs, keep your neck long. Open up your hands and make as big of a handprint as you can on the mat. Make sure you haven't locked out your elbows. Keep the elbow joint soft. And then if you're not feeling much stretch here, you can start to move your body back in space a bit. But if you're already feeling like, oh yeah, I feel a good stretch in my wrists, and just hang out there. So Michelle's just gonna stay. She's already feeling a good stretch. Anna stretches back just a little bit more to get the sensation of stretch. Now, to really get something to open up, you have to hold it for over a minute. So we're going to spend some time hanging out, getting this wrist to start to open up. About halfway there, now practice slow breathing in and out through your nose. Slow breath in and slower breath out. Good, now you're real deep in that stretch. You're at your end range. Now I want you to pretend like you're trying to push your fingers down into the ground, like you're gonna push the ground down and away from you. And feel the muscles that turn on to make that happen. Don't strain your neck or your jaw. Take a belly breath, breathe into your belly, fill up halfway, and then push 50% effort, 60% effort, 70% effort. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core like you're gonna push the mat down through the floor and forward. 100% effort. For 3, 2, 1, let go of that effort, and then see if you can stretch back a little bit deeper now. And if it went well, you should feel that after that end range isometric, you could stretch a little deeper. And when you practice end range isometrics, you're actually making yourself stronger in that deep range of motion. Now slowly come out of the stretch and turn your hands around. With your hands planted flat, I want you to take your hand and press down right into the groove of the wrist like that. So as you anchor right into the groove of the wrist, see if you can turn your arm in and out. So you're rotating, turn your elbow one way, turn it the other way. Just real gentle. And then change. And get right into that groove like you're trying to deepen the groove of the wrist as you gently turn in and out. You shouldn't go to any pain in this. So if you feel like, oh, if I try to rotate too much that way, it wants to catch or it's painful, don't push. Then both hands onto the mat and lift yourself up onto your fingertips. And then control your hand back down. Lift yourself up onto your fingertips. Control your hand down. Up onto your fingertips. Control it down. Okay, now our very last one, this one's kind of gnarly, but you're gonna try to turn your fingers to point towards each other. That's step one on the back of your hands. Now, if that feels like, oh, that's pretty easy, you could try to go a little deeper and turn the thumbs to face each other. That's the gnarliest one. How's it feel, guys? Not so bad? Okay. Keep your middle in, breathe. So we're here for 1 minute again so that we can really affect the stretch in these forearm muscles. Good, now slowly release that. Come back to your seated position. As you come back to kneeling, we'll do active wrist flexion. So make fists and then pull. See how much you can flex at your wrist and then stretch your fingers out like you're pushing the wall in front of you away. And just notice if it feels like you have more movement there. And then go the other way. Make your fist and push down like you're revving an engine on a motorcycle. And then go back the other way into extension. And just see how much extension you get of your wrists. And then back into flexion. Good, then come into neutral. And then the last thing we're gonna do is that circle that we started with. So see if it feels like the wrists move better. If the catchy spot isn't as catchy now after having done those stretches. What do you think?
So good.
Nice. So this is a great little wrist warm-up that you can do at the beginning of all of your practices if you feel like you have wrist issues. It'll help to make them stronger and more flexible. All right, so let's keep going now. These guys are big fans of the wrist work, by the way. All right, now come onto your hands and your knees. So that's one of the most common repetitive strain injuries that I see in yoga, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Now, what we're gonna do is take the hands just slightly wider than shoulder distance. And we're gonna do a little warm up for the core. Now, as you press into your hands, I want you to start to screw your armpits forward without locking your elbows. Push down, turn from the armpit, and then make sure that your rib cage is in so that your core is engaged. Now, maintaining that one leg at a time, step back into plank pose. Feel your new and improved wrist. As you push into the ground, push into your knuckles. Feel your arm muscles turn on to support you. Feel your strong shoulders here. The better connection you make pushing into your hands, the more you feel your shoulders turn on. Open up the space in between your shoulder blades. Keep your hips up in line. Now, keeping your lower back nice and long, bring your right knee towards your right elbow. So without rounding your lower back, you might not be able to bring it up as high. And then change sides. Take your left knee up, nice and. Keeping the lower back long, not letting it round. Change sides, right knee up. Keep pushing into the hands. Turn the armpits forward. Change sides. Just 20 more times. No, I'm kidding. Change sides. Keep your neck in line with your spine. Don't let it drop. Don't let it lift up. Last one, change sides. You should feel your core on fire now, your upper body strong. Step that leg back. Now set your knees down and stretch back into child's pose. Come back up onto your hands and your knees and stretch back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop down. So feel with the bend in your knees that your hamstrings can release evenly. And then with your head and neck, the last thing to come up, slowly roll yourself up one vertebra at a time. Stand balanced over your ankles. Open up your feet. As you inhale, raise your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into a flat back. Step your left leg back into a lunge. Now bring your hands up onto some blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks at home, you can figure it out with 1 block or a book just by putting it on the inside of your foot. Now from this position, try to find a long line of energy from your back leg through your spine. So lift your back inner thigh up, drive down through your right foot, squeeze your right outer hip back, and turn your right knee to point straight ahead. Feel your spine decompress and lengthen. Hold strong in this position, and then take one arm back behind you. See if you can hold that same angle of your spine. Take the other arm back too. Push through your front foot, squeeze your right hip in. Now put your left hand back down onto that block and twist. Take your right arm up. Bring your right hand back down. Step forward to the front of your mat. Fold forward, let your head drop. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms. Exhale, hands to your heart, Samastiti. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come into a flat back. Hands to your block, step your right foot back into a lunge. Lift up through your back inner thigh again. Draw the crease of your left hip back towards your back ankle. Feel your weight right into your center left heel and feel the muscles in your left outer hip grab back towards your back heel. Breathe your spine long. Then make sure with your head, you're not lifting your head or you're not dropping your head. Stretch one arm back, see if you can maintain this position. So you're challenging your core here, you're challenging the strength of your legs to hold your spine. Take the other arm back too. What happened to that left hip? Grip your left hip back, nice Michelle. Press down through your right big toe mound. Then set your right hand down and twist. Take your left arm up. Bring your hand back down. Step your back leg forward and fold. Take the blocks off to the side so they're not in your way. Sit your hips back like you're sitting into a little chair. Then stretch your arms forward straight out in front of you. Balance your weight right in between your heels and your toe mounds. Feel right over the high point of your arch, right at the front of your ankle. That's where you can feel your weight. Ribs are in. Neck neutral, neck long. Release any gripping in your jaw or in your throat. Then raise your arms up. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, come into a flat back, lengthen. Step back one leg at a time into plank pose. Hold in your plank. Keep your lower back long without your lower back rounding. Bring your right knee to your right elbow, just like we practiced at the beginning. Change left knee to left elbow. Don't let your head fall. Don't lift your head up. Keep it in neutral. Change legs, right knee to right elbow. Change left knee to left elbow. Stretch back to downward dog. Reconnect to your breath. Open up your fingers on your mat and push down into your hands. Have the wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat. Now lift yourself out of your down dog just a little bit, like you're coming slightly into plank, and then turn those arms. So turn the armpits forward, turn the shoulders back. Press into your hands. Then see if you can keep all this space across your shoulder blades as you slowly start to reach your thighs and hips back. Keep pushing into your hands. Don't strain or struggle, let the breath flow. Look forward in between your hands, step or float up lightly to the front. Inhale into a flat back, elongate. Exhale, fold forward. Sit back in your chair again. Inhale. Stand Samasthiti. Bring your hands to your heart. Inhale into chair pose. Bend your knees and sit back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lower slowly all the way down onto your belly. Point your toes back. Inhale, cobra. So come into a back bend, but now hover your hands 1 inch up off the floor. So you're just using your back strength. Press your feet down. Turn on your legs, turn on your glutes. Move the buttocks towards the backs of the knees. Draw the skin of your belly up. Now slide your hands back underneath your elbows as best you can. Lower your heart down, press straight up into plank pose. You can do hands and knees or with legs straight. Downward facing dog, stretch back. Inhale, raise your right leg up behind you, but keep your lower back long. Don't let your lower back sink to take the leg up. Shift into plank, pull your knee up to your chest, round your back. Step your foot up by your right thumb. Press down through that right heel. Squeeze the muscles of your right hip back, just like when we were on the block. And in fact, if your body starts to sink in this position, use that block so you can find that same right hip hug, back leg line. Then come up into crescent lunge from here. Now that you have your strong foundation, raise your arms up. Now lift up a little bit more for me, Anna. There you go. Get length through your spine, reach those arms. Good, Michelle. Push into that right heel. Now the last thing I want you to do is pretend like you have a block in between your hands. See if you can bring your hands closer towards each other, but without the upper traps taking over. Let these muscles at the base of your back of your neck spread. One more deep breath here. Stretch past your fingertips. And now see if you can lunge just a little bit deeper so your right knee comes over your ankle. Bring your hands back down to the mat. Step back, plank position. Hold in your plank. Lower slowly all the way to your belly. Inhale, cobra with the hands up off the mat an inch. Feel your strong back muscles here. Lower your chest back down, press up into plank, or lift up on the hands and knees. Stretch back to downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up without your middle dropping. Exhale, shift into plank, pull your knee up to your chest. Step your foot all the way up to your thumb. Come up onto your fingertips or onto your blocks, whatever helps you to get long in the lunge. Press into your left heel. Move your left outer hip crease back towards your back heel and lift your back thigh, back hip up a bit. Then come right up into crescent, raise your arms up. Now imagine you're holding a block in between your hands as you stretch the arms. Try not to let your rib cage harden forward. As you exhale, draw the ribs back down towards your hips. And then as you inhale, let your breath go down towards your pelvis. Feel the rib cage open up and expand through the reach of the arms. Now see if you can stretch your back leg a little longer. Now keep the stretch on your back leg as you push down through your right big toe mound, and then maybe you can lunge a little deeper without sinking in your lower back. Bring your hands back down, step back, plank position. Lower all the way onto your belly, nice and slow. Inhale into cobra, hover the hands up an inch. Now don't jam from your chin, keep the neck long. Instead, see if you can get in your upper back to move a little bit better. Lower your heart down, push up into plank pose. Hands and knees or legs straight, up to you. Downward facing dog, stretch back. Step your right foot for warrior one. Right foot comes up to your right thumb. Set up your back heel. Inhale, come up. Open up to your side, warrior two. Hold in warrior two. Press down, steady into your back foot, your heel, your big toe mound, and your little toe mound. On your back thigh, let the inner upper thigh release back so that your pelvis can orient slightly towards your right leg. Track your right knee straight ahead. Pelvis upright. As you exhale, connect the rib cage to the pelvis so you feel your core engage. And as you breathe in, let the breath go all the way down towards your belly. Then straighten your right leg, except for maybe a little micro bend. Hands to your hips. Tip from your pelvis out over your right thigh. Right outer hip moves back towards your heel. Place your hand down onto a block or onto the floor. Take your left arm straight up. You could also use your shin like Michelle was going to do. Come back to your breath. Feel your breath moving in and out through your nose. Bend your right knee. Put your right hand a foot in front of your foot on the block or on the floor. Step your back foot a foot closer and then lean into your right foot. Raise your back leg up. Now I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging to get the proper thigh rotation. So I want you to bend your right knee, press into your right foot as evenly as you can. And with the bend in your knee, can you turn the thigh bone in the hip socket? Turn the outer thigh back. One more time, bend that right knee, turn the thigh, and then straighten your leg. Take your left arm up. Bend your right knee and come back into warrior two pose. Good, nice transitions. Then place your right hand onto the inside of your right foot on the floor or on the block. Take your left arm straight up. Go inside, ladies. There you go. So use your right arm to help to turn and pry your knee open. Then hook your left arm behind your back for a half bind. If your shoulder allows, you can hook it all the way into the hip crease, inner thigh. Use your breath to help to open up the left collarbone, left upper chest. Now press through your feet, engage your core, and see if, as you hug your front ribs in, maybe you can take your right arm forward. If it's too gnarly on your lower back or something, or you don't have the core strength, just keep your hand down. Bring your right hand down. Take your left arm up. Bring your left hand down, so both hands are on the ground on the inside of the foot now. Spin your back heel up. Step back into plank position. Take a vinyasa or just stretch back to down dog. Step your left foot for warrior one. Open up to your side, warrior two. Seal your back foot down into the ground, the pinky toe, big toe mound, center heel, and rotate the inner thigh back slightly on your back leg. Feel how that allows your pelvis to shift. So allow the pelvis to turn slightly towards the left leg. And on your next exhalation, connect the rib cage to the pelvis. As you think about aiming the ribs straight down, that will help your diaphragm to come into a neutral position, which is going to help to open up the tension in your back ribs and your side ribs. Still focus on the breath going all the way down towards your belly. See if you can drop your thigh another inch deeper. Good. Keep your arms strong. Arms up in line with the shoulders, but don't let your neck take over. Feel your strong deltoids. Now straighten your left leg, except for maybe a little micro bend, hands on your hips. Now before you go to tip out over your leg, turn your left hip back a little bit, then hinge from your hip and put your hand down onto your shin, ankle, blocker floor. Take your right arm up. Reconnect to your breath and notice where you're straining or overdoing. So see if you can let go of any of the feeling of like, I have to make this perfect, or I really have to struggle in this pose. If that's your tendency, just chill out a little bit. On your exhalation, drop some of that down. Just be in the pose. Feel your breath moving. Now bring your right hand to your hip. Bend your left knee for Ardha Chandrasana. Put your hand a foot in front of your foot on the block or on the floor. Step your back foot closer and then lean into your foot and raise your back leg. Now let's get into that foundation. So bend your left knee. Bend it deeply like you're doing chair. Push into your foot, your heel, big toe, and little toe mound. Now remember, balance isn't something that's fixed, so allow yourself to keep looking for balance in the foot. Rotate that left thigh in the hip socket. Turn it more than you think. Turn, turn, turn. And feel that the muscles in the glute max, glute med are having to turn on to stabilize you and support you. Turn that thigh, and then from there, see if you can straighten the leg, maintaining all that rotation. Good job. Open up and take your arm up once you're steady, or you can just keep your hand on your hip. Breathe through your nose. Bend your left knee. Take a smooth step back into warrior two. Good, now we're going for quad burn. I know it feels pretty intense at this point, but drop it just a little bit deeper. Put your hand out on the inside of your foot. Block or floor is your call depending on your flexibility. Take your right arm up. Now because Anna's tendency is to hunch over just a little bit, I'm gonna slide her up onto the tallest block, and that'll help the spine to get nice and long. That's better. Wrap your right arm behind your back. Now what about that left outer buttock and hip? That has to be educated again. So bring your mind's eye right into this outer hip. Turn it back to your back heel. When that happens, then your knee tracks. That's kind of cool. Push your back foot, and then see if you can bend your knee a little bit deeper, keeping that outer buttock grab back. Those stabilizers in your butt, those are gonna help to support your good posture in your spine. If the buttock muscles are dull, then it pulls the whole postural chain down. So feel that left heel press down, feel your left buttock engage, squeeze it back, fasten it to your back heel, and as you lift up from your belly, maybe take your left arm forward. As we hold for the last 3. Oh dang, you guys are so strong. 2. 1, good, open your arms up. Left hand down onto the ground, right arm up. Okay, now check it out from here. Put your right hand down. Both hands get a spot on the mat on the ground. Spin your back heel up. So you're in this like modified lizard where on the inside of your leg. Stretch your back leg, grow your spine long here. Good. Don't let that back thigh sink, Anna. Good job. Now step right back into plank. Good. 20 push-ups. No, okay, it was, okay. But we're gonna do a little side plank now. Are you ready? Put your left hand in the middle, open up, take your right arm up. Now Michelle's gonna modify. She's gonna lower her left knee down onto the ground, and she's just gonna work on creating this nice line of energy from the ankle to the shoulder to the ear. Now something we've been focusing on is the tendency to overextend in the lumbar and at the TL junction, which is something that Michelle and I really struggle with. So to help with that, she's gonna draw her front hip bones up a bit and glue her rib cage down to her pelvis. Now, I can tell that she feels like she's hunched over now, but you could see that she's straight. So keeping this, we're gonna see if we can breathe into the side ribs more. Anna's gonna try to do the same thing. It's hard as hell because she's been holding for forever. Slowly come back into plank pose. Good. And remember, you can always drop your knee if you need to, Anna. Put your right hand in the middle and open up. Side plank on the other side. So our core, our pelvis, our rib cage, and our neck are what drive our movement. And we want to be able to sync them together. So keep the pelvis in neutral. Hug the rib cage down. Feel the neck nice and long. Your head isn't falling forward. Now that you feel this, you might feel different muscles stretching, like this tight chest, the tight pecs. You can feel those where we normally hide them just by pushing the middle out. Slowly come back to plank pose. So it's a great way to strengthen and open your shoulders at the same time as holding a plank with good posture. Then set your knees down onto the ground. Sit back on your heels and upright yourself. Now, if it's too gnarly to sit like this, then you can sit cross-legged instead. Interlock your fingers, turn your palms inside out, and raise your arms up. But even as your arms are going up here, let's integrate the core. Draw the front ribs in so that the rib cage is aimed straight to the pelvis. Relax the traps. Bring your arms back down, change the interlock. Turn the palms inside out and reach up. Bring your arms back down. Now, if the knees are healthy enough to, you're gonna walk your hands back a foot behind you. Now, if the knees are gnarly, you're gonna pretend like your knees are gnarly. You're gonna come into a reverse plank position. So you're gonna have a seat on your butt, take your hands back a foot, and then lift your hips up. But Michelle, could you do it from the kneeling position? Nice. Perfect. Press into your roots, whether it's your shin and top of the foot or if it's the bottom of your foot. Roll the inner thighs down towards the ground and then pretend like you're hugging something in between your thighs, like a ball. Drive the tailbone towards the knees. Open up across your collarbones as you inhale, and then feel your front bottom ribs hug down to your pelvis again, so you're really getting the opening up in your chest. Lower your butt back down. Good job. Now lie down onto your belly. Interlock your hands behind your back. There you go, that's the belly. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start with locust pose. Press the tops of the feet down and lift the inner knees, and then lift your shoulders, head, chest up. But just notice how we talked about how the eyes wanna harden Do you remember, do you watch all the videos? You have to watch all the videos all the time, otherwise you're not gonna know what's going on. So just make sure you're watching all the videos. All right, so your eyes will wanna do all the work, which will make your neck hinge. So soften your eyes and move from your core and your spine. Start to come up with your chest. Yeah, now the head stays in its neutral position versus the eyes trying to pull you into the back bend. Now from here, draw your shoulder blades towards each other and onto your back. Good. And then, keeping your knees as straight as you can, squeeze those quads, lift your legs up just an inch. Lift from the thigh bone. Ooh, good. Lower yourself down, rest one cheek on the mat. Okay, now you can repeat that last pose, hands clasped, lifting up, or you can bend your knees and reach back for your ankles. So Anna's just gonna do the hands clasped ones. Michelle, bend your knees and grab your ankles. Now with this one, if you have a tendency to have lower back issues, you're gonna lower your chest a little bit and just work on lengthening here. Otherwise, if the lower back is healthy, you're welcome to go up into the full position like Michelle originally showed. Honor your body. Do what feels like it's opening you up instead of causing you more tension. Lower yourself back down. Good. And then for our peak pose here, the grand finale, we're gonna do a deep upward facing dog. Michelle's gonna show us what it looks like with the hands on blocks, which is someone that has less flexibility. That's how they would do it. Roll your chest up, upward facing dog. So the block just gives you a little bit of lift so that your lumbar spine doesn't take the burden of it, versus you can see with Anna's hands on the floor, her lumbar spine really has to do a lot of back bending. Stretch back to down dog. Raise your right leg up behind you, inhale, and then bring your right leg up for single leg pigeon. You can stay upright in this position, or you can start to walk your hands forward. Now, if you feel like, oh, I kind of got a sketchy knee situation here, like I'm feeling a lot of pull in my knee, like it's a great stretch for my knee, you don't want it to be a stretch for your knee. That's bad news. You want to feel the stretch right here in your hip. So if it feels like the knee becomes unstable in this position, like it will for many, then you can just practice lying on your back, ankle to knee pose, like this, or upright, like so. But you want to feel the stretch coming into your piriformis, outer hip situation. Stretch back to downward facing dog. Change sides, raise the left leg up. And then bring your leg into single leg pigeon. Now walk your hands back towards you and upright your chest. Sit over onto your left hip and bring your right leg around out in front of you. Stretch both legs straight out. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, reach out for your feet, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, get length as you hold your feet. Exhale, fold deeper. Now, if you're more limited in your forward bend, you're gonna put a little bend in your knees, and this is actually gonna help the hamstrings to stretch more evenly, as opposed to just yanking at the connection at the back of the knee, which is just gonna create more sciatic nerve tension. This way, your hamstrings start to open up and release. And then look how Anna's neck starts to integrate naturally, which cues the vagus nerve to send the rest and relax and stretch and chill signal through the whole body. That's what we want. That's what we want when we stretch. We don't want to be tensing up. Oh, can I stretch myself deeper? I'll jam myself deeper and I'll eventually get more flexible. That's not the way it works. I wish you could force your way. No. Just chill out and breathe. Then lie down on your back for Shavasana. Turn your palms to face up. Yeah, so one of the more common themes that I see is that people come to yoga because they know they need to chill out, and then they make the yoga so stressful. So I want you to give yourself permission now, if you've been straining and struggling a bit, to just completely relax in Shavasana. Let your body drop. Let go of the control of your breath. Relax deeply. Scan your body and notice how calm you feel at the end of your practice. Feel how you can sense maybe even a vibrational quality in the body. So like you can feel where your hands and your feet are in space. So feel how even as you feel super calm and chilled out, that it feels like there's a good flow of energy in the body. You tapped into that and you allowed it to move through your body throughout the practice. Now bend your knees and roll over to your side. Press yourself gently up to seated. Bring your palms together. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's class, make sure to hit the like button. Also, take a second to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure to say thanks to Michelle and Anna. And if you have any questions, drop them below. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good day.